Amesbury Primary. Love the place, love the show. Everything Amesbury from the Radio Shack.
Hello everybody, welcome to Radio Shack Club Friday. I'm Lewis. With me is DJ Gaz, Luke,
Amy, Honey,
Morgan,
Lily,
Jamie,
Paige.
We've got lots on this show this week, including weather, nursery rhymes, silly news, story. Stay tuned in. Now passing on to Lily.
Thank you. I'm Lily and I've got the silly and serious news. Yesterday, over 3 million people died from brain-burning burgers. Only 2 weeks ago, 25 families got hurt by millions of gold rocks. These are the serious stories. Today, the 12th of the 6th, more people are getting bullied. It needs to start stopping. Do you think reporting on stories that people are in and they don't like it is fair? You'll have more from me next week. If you are in the school, you can help me have more silly stories. Now passing on to Morgan with the weather.
Hello, this is Weather with Morgan. Tonight on Friday the 12th of June, there will be thunderstorms. So if you're camping out, I feel sorry for you. And yellow warning of rain. At 2 p.m, partly cloudy, 18 degrees, and then up and down like a roller coaster. Up to 19 degrees, then down to 18 degrees, then to 17 degrees, then to 16 degrees, then to 15 degrees, and rainy at the same time. Then Saturday, some sun and some cloud. Handing over to Luke with the first song.
And hello everyone, it is the DJ Jazz Luke playing our first song. Is Katy Perry Raw. And that is Katy Perry Raw. Now I'm handing over to Amy and Honey.
Hello, I'm Amy.
And I'm Honey.
Thank you, Luke, for passing it on. The story this week is
Honey the Sweet Fairy.
It's a chapter story, and the first chapter is called A Trip to the Sweet Shop. It was a lovely sunny day, and Mr. and Mrs. Tate had set lunch outside in the garden. As Kirsty and her best friend Rachel Walker sat down to eat, Miss Tate suddenly groaned aloud. I knew there was something else I meant to get from the shops this morning, she cried. Grand's toffees.
I promised I'd take her some this evening, and I completely forgot to buy them. Kirsty put down a sandwich. Don't worry, Mum. We'll go to Mrs. Twist's sweet shop after lunch for you, she suggested. She glanced at Rachel. What do you think? Sure, Rachel said. I've always got time to go to the sweet shop. The two girls smiled at each other.
Rachel was staying with the Tates for a whole week. She and Kirsty had met one summer holiday, and they had been good friends ever since. Somehow, whenever the pair of them got together, they always seemed to have the most wonderful adventures. Fairy adventures. That reminds me, Mr. Tate said. I saw in the local newspaper that Mrs. Twist is retiring. Her daughter's taking over the sweet shop from tomorrow. As this is her last day, Mrs. Twist is throwing a party for all her customers. He winked at Kirsty and Rachel. I read something about there being plenty of free sweets up for grabs too.
Kirsty nudged Rachel at once. Sweets and a party, she repeated. How exciting! We love parties, Rachel agreed with a grin. The two friends shared a secret. They had been busy all week, helping the party fairies of Fairyland. The fairies were preparing a surprise celebration for the Fairy King and Queen's 1000th Jubilee, but wicked Jack Frost had plans for his own rival party. All week, he'd been sending his goblins into the human world to disrupt people's parties. Then, whenever a party fairy zoomed in to save the day, a goblin would try to snatch a magical party bag and take it. In fact, Jack Frost.
Kirsty and Rachel had been helping the party fairies outwit the goblins, but they knew their work wasn't over yet. Not if Jack Frost had anything to do with it. After lunch, Mrs. Tate gave the girls some money for the toffees, and they set out for the sweet shop. As they turned into the high street, they saw that a few children were already clustered outside Mrs. Twist's shop. But as they drew nearer, Kirsty and Rachel realised that there was something wrong.
A boy was putting a face as he licked a lollipop, and one little girl started to cry. "These sweeties taste funny," she wailed. Kirsty and Rachel went into the shop, wondering what was going on. The tiny shop looked very festive. Colourful balloons hung from the ceiling, and party streamers were twinned around the big jars of sweets that lined the shelves. Mrs. Twist stood behind the counter as usual, but Kirsty noticed at once that she didn't look her normal cheerful self. "Hello, Mrs. Twist," Kirsty called. "Is everything all right?"
Mrs. Twist shook her head sadly. "Not really," she replied. "It's my last day, and I was hoping to have a wonderful party. But all my sweets are spoiled." That was the end of the chapter, A Trip to the Sweet Shop. Thank you for listening.
And tune in next week to hear Chapter 2.
Now we're going to pass on to Jamie.
Thank you, Amy, and hi. Hello, I'm Jamie, and this is the top 10 Mario games, so let's do it. Number 10 is Super Mario for the Nintendo Entertainment System. Number 2 is Super Mario Bros. 2. Number 8 is Super Mario DS. Number 7 is Mario Sunshine. Number 6 is Mario World 2. Number 5 is Mario Galaxy. Number 4 is Mario Galaxy 2. Number 3 is Mario 3. Number 2 is Mario World, and number 1 is Super Mario 64. This game was made in the 1990s and for the N64, and it was highly acclaimed by critics as being one of the best games of all time. That's all from me, passing on to Luke with Song 2.
And we are back with DJ Jazz Luke doing Miley Cyrus Wrecking Ball. And this is DJ Jazz Luke. That's the end of Miley Cyrus Wrecking Ball. Now handing over to Paige.
Hello, I am Paige, and I am going to sing Jack and Jill. Jack and Jill went up the hill to fetch a pail of water. Jill fell down and broke his crown. Jack came tumbling after. I'm Paige, and now I am passing on to Amy.
Thank you, Paige. Hello, I'm Amy, and now we've got the shout-outs. My shout-out is Taryn from Amesbury class for being a great sister.
My shout-out is to my best friend from my old school, Daisy May, from Amesbury Archer.
My shout-out is Cameron from Amesbury class.
My shout-out is to my best friend Terry from Wardle class for being an amazing friend and always playing with me.
My shout-outs are to Adam and Toby in Woodhenge for being my best friends.
My shout-out is to Emily from Christ the King in Class 8.
My shout-out is to Deacon in Longley for being a good friend. And it's DJ Jazz Luke saying my shout-out is to Harry, who is now in Liverpool. And I hope you remember me because I always will remember you. And see you next week because we are ending our Radio Shack from here. Bye!
Amesbury Primary. Love the place. Love the show. Everything Amesbury from the Radio Shack.